Do you think Sam Darnold's story is like the greatest comeback story in the NFL? Because I might have a hot take here.
I would have to go back and look at the all-time great stories. I mean, Kurt Warner had a great career revival, reclamation. Peyton Manning coming back from the broken neck, yeah, things like that. There are certainly some incredible stories. I do think it honestly depends on how Darnold's career sort of plays out from this moment on. Obviously, winning the Super Bowl is the creme de la creme. You can't do anything better than that. Even winning an MVP is not as good as winning a Super Bowl as a starting quarterback. But, if hypothetically, purely hypothetically, he gets injured next year and he never gets to play football again, or maybe he has a horrible year and he gets benched. Then we're kind of looking at it like it's not quite the same. But on this current trajectory where he actually looks like a really good quarterback, then yes, it has the possibility to go down as that. I actually was able to speak to for something else I'm doing. I was interviewing a guy who has sort of a network of Los Angeles, California based football channels. So he covers USC, UCLA, the Rams, et cetera, et cetera. And I asked him, what's the general vibe? What's the feeling of USC fans and Sam Darnold? And he said, it's funny because obviously it was Rams Seahawks in the championship game. And you would think the USC fans would root for the local team, the LA Rams. He said, like 75% of USC fans were cheering on the Seahawks because they love Sam Darnold so much. Apparently, he is just so entrenched in everything out there. They love him to death. And seeing what he could do after being labeled, one of the biggest busts of the last however many years, for him to now win the Super Bowl and play just as well as Matt Stafford in the championship game and look like a truly great quarterback, it's an awesome story.
I think it's a great story. And I think from what he obviously came to, from what he did now, it's very impressive. I wouldn't call it here's the issue with what we forget. These guys are supposed to win Super Bowls. First round draft picks are supposed to win Super Bowls. And I know he had a rough time with the Jets, and then he bounces to Carolina and he goes to be a backup. And then he goes to the Vikings. He's gone all over the place, and that easily could have derailed his career. But at the same time, too, these guys are supposed to win Super Bowls. You're drafted for that reason. So he just achieved what his expectation was in my mind. So now it's like, where does he go from here?
That's a good way to look at it, because had he not struggled so much at the beginning of his career, you would be saying, let's just say Sam Darnold was like an average-ish, maybe slightly above quarterback all this time. You would be saying, hey, you're supposed to win a Super Bowl. It is because you're held to your own standards, your own expectations, and he set the bar low. So when he exceeded it, it was like, wow, great job. But you are right that when you're drafted third overall, the expectation is you should go win a Super Bowl.
Well, Josh and Lamar, are they busts in the end of the day? Realistically,
they're not busts, but they should have won a Super Bowl by now because of the level of talent they have.
Talent they've had on football teams. Mistakes that Josh Allen has made, that's just not something you would expect a quarterback to his standard to make. But they're not busts, obviously, because they've won MVPs. They're all pros, but they have not lived up to what they're expected to do, and that is ultimately win a Super Bowl. So I would say, as a first-round draft pick, you are expected to win the Super Bowl. And probably 50% of first-round draft pick, 50% of first-round quarterbacks, I think, have a starting career. So it is hard to obviously win Super Bowls, especially when you're drafted to bad teams. But in the end of the day, you are drafted to win the Super Bowl. And Sam Darnold has done that. So it's a great comeback story, but he just did what he was expected to do. Josh, Lamar, they still haven't been able to do it yet.
Yeah, Darnold's perseverance is the most commendable thing about him. The fact that he stuck to it after being, shipped off to Carolina and back up in San Francisco and all that stuff. But he's not an underdog story.
No, he's a hard guy not to root for, though. You root for him like the underdog, even though he's really not the underdog. He was. We need to understand, he was a first-round draft pick. Once he got in with a good team, he was just fine. Right.
That's kind of Adam Gase did try to sabotage him.
Yeah, well, the Jets, nobody's going to be good for the Jets. It's impossible to be good.